everybody, what's going on? This is Dr. Jeff C. May, and welcome to another episode of Doctor's Orders, advice you should actually take. And in this episode, I am going at the heart of things that piss me off in chiropractic. Now, you may be sitting there thinking, well, aren't you a chiropractor? Yes, for 14 years I've been a chiropractor. I've been a chiropractic patient for longer than that. We may get into some of that story, but the purpose of this video is to clarify some very, very common things that get said to me by patients who have been in other chiropractors' offices that do not make sense. And so there's a couple reasons why I want to clarify this. One, it's confusing the public. Two, it's probably, if it's confusing to the public, it's preventing people from getting the care that they need. And possibly, how do you filter? How do you filter this world when there's a chiropractor on every single corner? And we're going to dive into those things. So how do you find a chiropractor? What are the weird things they say? How do you interpret it? What should you do? A, B, and C. So there's multiple factors here. And I'm going to start off with something that I tell every single new patient in my office is that chiropractors are like restaurants. I followed up with this. We may not be the restaurant for you. What I mean by is you may love Chinese food and we may only serve Mexican food here. We may only serve American food. Whatever the style, the flavor, Mediterranean food, whatever it may be, people have preferences, and honoring and respecting that in the patient, letting them know that we may do things differently here in our office, obviously as most offices. One is positive because we may not be the restaurant for everybody else. Two, you never want to go to a restaurant that's not busy. Why? Because the food sucks. And so that's why when people come into our office and they see a lot of people, it may be intimidating for some patients initially. However, what I've found is that they realize, oh my gosh, the reason that our office is full of people a majority of the time is because we get results. The food is good. And so that's what I want to share with you guys today in terms of navigating the waters and finding a chiropractor that's going to help you meet your healthcare goals. Because one of the most common things, and here I'm going right into my number one pet peeve in chiropractic, because I've had many interns, different associates over the years, all these different things, and continually, in fact, this week alone, it's Wednesday right now at the time of the recording, this week alone, I have heard this statement so much in my adjusting rooms, is that it's just different here. I don't know how to explain it, but it just feels better here. And I had to come to the crossroads and say, well, how do I present this? I don't want to come off as the egotistic, and some people will take this as ego, whatever. You can't please everybody. Some people will be like, oh man, you're just high on your own supply or tooting your own horn, whatever it may be. Here's my mission: to help educate, empower, and eradicate lifestyle disease. Period. End of story. People don't need to suffer. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. And so when we dive into this, there is a bigger purpose for me. There's a bigger mission to say, I'm going to help people regardless of the boo birds, regardless of the haters, regardless of the people on the sidelines, because I've never had anybody healthier than me criticize me. Let me say that again. I've never had anybody who's healthier than me criticize me. And so you may apply that to your world in terms of, hey, I've never had anybody more successful want to rip and tear me down. In fact, the people in my life that have been more successful, healthier in different areas, you know what they do? They're encouraging. They're excited for me to make steps and make progress. And I think that's a filter we need to use inevitably in all areas of our life. No matter what area of your life, your faith, your family, your finance, your fitness, whatever you're trying to improve, if you find somebody who's tearing you down, they are not going to help you, but chances are they're not more successful than you. You're not going to learn anything from them anyway, except to not listen to them. And so what I've found is when you're filtering out and who to listen to and what area of your life, those are people are going to be encouraging. They're going to be helpful. They're going to be genuinely excited for you on your healthcare journey. And especially when it comes into chiropractic, and if I'm talking to people in my office, we just had this morning. They were in for some of our tissue regenerative therapy, our SoftWave device. Shout out to that because we were the first ones in Minnesota to have it. Amazing device. She has a chiropractor. That's a beautiful thing. We celebrate her. We didn't say, oh, your chiropractor sucks. You should come to our office. Are you kidding me? We're going to help support her because we love chiropractic. We know the benefits it has for people. It's not voodoo, it's not witch doctor. There's all these things. So I'm gonna actually, instead of jumping into the myths around chiropractic, I'm gonna go into the stupid things that certain chiropractors say Now, I don't have a specific chiropractor in mind. It's not a specific attack on an individual. And if chiropractors are listening to this, maybe you should just catch yourself and say, hey, am I telling my patients things? Does this make sense to me even? And I'm going to first start off with the cookie cutter chiropractic. This has been one thing. I used to actually have a marketing funnel that was in around based off cookie cutter chiropractic, and I'm bringing it back. Because here's the thing, and one of the biggest differences that I've noticed in our offices, and I sit back and I try and objectively say, okay, what is the difference? Because how do we help more people? And this is when cookie cutter chiropractic, let me define that. You go into your chiropractor, doesn't matter male, female, it doesn't matter. They do the same damn adjustment every time. Now get this, you lay on your stomach, okay? Now there may be some form of therapy before and after. I'm talking about the specific adjustment style. And they do, 3 cracks up your back and your thoracic spine, lay you on one hip, crank you to the side, lay you on the other hip, crank you to the other side. Okay, go to your back, crank both sides of your neck. Okay, it's called the Flying 7. It's the most Walmart generic version of chiropractic out there. Now, does it help some people? Sure. You know why? Because it mobilizes joints. It helps increase mechanoreception, which is positive feedback loop for your brain. All of these things. So it's a positive thing. But let me ask you this. Why would it be positive every time? And people get stuck in these patterns because if I were to make this analogy, when you go to the gym and you go into the gym and you say, okay, well, I'm going to lift the same 5-pound dumbbell every time. Initially, you may not have the strength. And so that 5-pound dumbbell provides enough resistance to help you gain some strength. However, if you go back in the next day and you're like, I'm going to lift the same 5 pounds, the same manner, and you do the same workout day in, day out. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that you're not going to get better with that routine. You just won't. And so why in chiropractic do we have the same stinking adjustment every single time? This is also why I take care of a lot of patients that actually have chiropractors as family members. And it's no knock to them. I actually take care of some chiropractors. Crazy. And I had to go through 14 years of this. And I had to battle with my own stories in my head on why don't I share this? Well, I don't want to share it because I don't want to sound too good to be true, because I'm not. I'm a student. I'm a student of the game. Now, am I a master in chiropractic? Damn right I am. I've got well more than 10,000 hours, or whoever says, you need 10,000 hours in one thing. I've probably got easily double that. And so in order to get over my own ego and not care about what people think, I need to share this because it's going to help people. Okay, it's going to help people somehow find a chiropractor. We're going to have filter this out. So cookie cutter chiropractic is the first thing that has to go. The other thing is that in the assessment process, so you go into the chiropractor. Some chiropractors take Xrays. Some chiropractors do bilateral weight scales. I think all of those served a purpose at some time. If you're worried about abnormal structure, there's this big debate in chiropractic on Xrays. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but I am going to go down the rabbit hole in terms of this whole one leg longer than the other. I have so many patients that will always tell, well, my old chiropractor said I have one leg longer than the other, and that's why I have to be adjusted, and that's why I have to have a heel lift, and that's why I have to do all these specific things. Let's talk about that for a second. Anatomically, there is going to be a leg length difference, all right? Anatomically, there's going to be millimeters, centimeters, there's going to be all these things. Now, if there are some people out there that have been through big time accidents, that maybe damaged their growth plates through an accident as a child, that's a very, very low percentage of the general population. So the amount of people that are all coming in and saying, oh my gosh, I have one leg longer than the other, that's why I have to do X. So maybe heel lifts. And in all reality, I think part of it was a great way to sell heel lifts back in the day. There's a heel lift company, and they're like, hey, if you find this abnormality, this is the reason why you put a heel lift in. And my view on that, my perspective is not maybe the most popular one in those things. I'm thinking if your leg length isn't that far off, listen, your brain and body can adapt to this. Here's why. You have about how many thousands of cancer cells in your body a day, and your body kills them. Your immune system is constantly adapting and killing viruses and bacteria all the time. It's keeping your heart beating, your lungs breathing, your kidneys filtering, your liver processing proteins, your pancreas helping maintain your sugar levels. All these things, your brain is keeping track about 70 trillion cells at once. You don't think it can overcome a freaking leg length difference and you need a heel lift the rest of your life? Give me an absolute break. That's where my brain goes. All right. And so what I see is your body, there's this thing called the writing reflex. We want to go down some neurology. You want to go down saying I'm a witch doctor, I'm a voodoo doctor, then I'm uneducated. Maybe I'm uneducated in some things. On this, I got you beat. Because here's why. There's a thing called the writing reflex. It means when you're laying down and you go to standing up, no matter if you have a leg length difference or not, or if your hips are off, those things, your body is going to adapt so that your eyes are level with the horizon. It's called the writing reflex. You can look it up. And so ultimately, when your body adapts, the key component here is the communication in between the cells to your brain. Now, that happens through your nerve system. That's why all the assessments in our office are based around communication, functional communication, and results, and testing, and changing, and no cookie cutter chiropractic garbage crap, whatever you want to fill it in. A little ranty today, but I hope you're loving this. I hope you're enjoying this. I hope this helps somebody out there. So let me know. You can always email the show, write a comment on Instagram Live. I see you guys watching, and thanks for tuning in. You guys share this with friends for sure. Share this message, because you're not going to get this anywhere else. You're going to go in and get the same old leg length difference or old school chiropractic garbage. And the Flying 7 is crushing the profession. It really, really is. It's keeping people from getting the results they need. Just last week, we've had a gal. She drives over 2 hours to our office, which is not necessarily uncommon. And she started off, she could not eat food because she gets so much stomach pain. And it literally are like stomach migraines, all these different things. She was down to like 86 pounds on a feeding tube. Now, that walks into your chiropractic office and you're looking around and you're like, what on earth do they do here? But I will tell you that neurologically, all I know is that if the brain can communicate with the stomach, she doesn't have a neurological disorder. Her brain, her digestive system is 100% perfectly healthy. If I can map out through the technology in her office and see the breakdown in communication, because think about this, how you married couples out there, a relationship, or anybody in a relationship, where do all the fights start from? It's a breakdown in communication. Every single time, the core of it was a miscommunication. So why is it any different inside our body? So we can go through and I can map out the interference patterns and course correct and change those by balancing that nervous system out through a very specific assessment system called the zone technique, is what we predominantly use in this office. People get better. And I remember it was our third adjustment. Her mom, who would drive her initially, her mom, who also became a patient in the office from Red Wing, said, I remember we left your office and it wasn't the healthiest choice, but she was so hungry. We stopped at McDonald's and I watched her eat 2 cheeseburgers with no pain. I mean, come on. Like, how does that happen? It happens because health is normal. We have been conditioned and programmed and propagandized. I don't know. That's probably not a word. Propagandized. What's the word? I don't know what the word is for that. But we have been absolutely brainwashed. I'll stick with that one. We've been brainwashed that health is hard. Health is normal. Like, health is normal. Health is your default setting. In what we eat, what we think, and how we move and treat our bodies predominantly along the way, we have been conditioned and brainwashed to think that by the time you're 40, you're fat, you're overweight, you're fatigued, you're on 12 to 14 different medications on average in America. We take more medications in this country than anywhere else combined in the world. We've got drug commercials, every other commercial, or whatever it may be, with how many freaking different side effects. And you know what? You don't think it's brainwashing? You don't think it's brainwashing when they change the color on the shows and they dim the sound and when they go through the side effects? I mean, they're literally trying to hide that from you, but legally they have to be on there. So this is how we're going to do it. We're going to turn it way down. We're going to make everything else vibrant and say like, oh, you can breathe better energy. And it may have explosive diarrhea and you may actually just like poop your pants in the middle of the night and all the other literal crap side effects that come with that. And so that's the battle. So we talked about one leg shorter than the other garbage. We talked about the cookie cutter stuff. And then what about ambiguous care plans? Let's talk about this. The care plan. The care plan in the chiropractic office. Oh no, we're talking about a care plan. Here's the thing. Some chiropractors have care plans. And I am a big fan of care plans in the office. Why? Because oftentimes when people come in, there is a deficit. They're running at a deficit of health. Let's just put it this way. They've been out of balance for so long. Their lifestyle, thought patterns, all those things have conditioned them where there is a gap. There is a gap between them and being able to adapt to stress better. Oftentimes because it's been decades. Right? So 20, 30, 40 plus years, 60 plus years. Shoot, we have people in their 80s that they've been running at a deficit of health you need a plan to get back. So many people think, oh, if my back's out of place, by the way, a bone out of place pinching a nerve is garbage. A bone out of place pinching a nerve is such a garbage term because it's about communication. It's about neurology and tone and tension. And so if they're taking X-rays and saying, oh, this bone is out of place pinching a nerve, chances are it's not. All right. If you get hit by my Jeep, I'm sorry. And two, maybe you have a bone out of place pinching a nerve. But these ambiguous care plans on why we determine how people start. Do they start 3 days a week? Do they start every other day a week? Do they start, once a week? All these things in between. Well, you can't start everybody in the same place. There's just not. But a lot of times the reason you need multiple visits in the beginning, it's just like going to the gym for the first time. Like you're 50 pounds overweight. What am I going to do? Tell you go to the gym once a month because that's what you want, because that's what's comfortable to you? No, I took an oath that says I'm going to help you and first do no harm and also tell you the flipping truth. So the fact of the matter is whether you like it or not, I'm going to tell you if you got to work out every day. I'm going to tell you if you need to be adjusted 3 to 4 times a week for the first several weeks, and then we'll retest, remeasure. Because that's another thing. When people go and they get X-rays, how often do they X-ray you? Well, we're just going to do it once, and then we're basing all our care off these X-rays, and then never do it again. Like that does not make sense. Like the consumer is smarter than that, chiropractors. And I realize I'm getting a little ranty, but I hope you guys share this, like this up, because this is what needs to get out there if we're going to improve not only the profession, but the overall health of individuals. So if you are taking X-rays and basing your care off there and getting results, all right, if you're not getting results, change something. That's plain and simple. I don't care what area of your life in. If you're not getting results, you need to change something, because doing the same thing over and over is the definition of insanity. To get that beat down into people on every motivational poster there is. But I'm telling you, if you are not getting results, change something. And ultimately, if you're going to base your care off somebody's X-rays, you should probably re-X-ray. See the changes. Well, they're feeling better. Well, feeling better is about 10% of the nervous system. You really want to go off a subjective only thing for this person's health? Like, I think their health is a little more important than that. So objectively, you need tests. So subjectively and objectively, subjective is what the patient, if you're sitting there, and that's what you tell the doctor, no matter what doctor it is. It doesn't have to be just a big chiropractor, but subjectively is saying, okay, well, this is how I feel. This is when I do this hurts, or when I don't do this, those things. Those are subjective data. We also have to have objective data we can remeasure. That for our office includes a lot of different things. If you're interested in about it, comment, questions, concerns, we'll help you out. If you want me to help you find a chiropractor, I'll do my best. Like I'm not like, oh, just run to my office. Yes, I mean, run to my office because nobody has more fun than us and the team. Like my team, Emily, Tamara, Shelly, Dr. Tyler, Nurse Sarah, good luck. You will not beat us at what we do because we love it. When I say we love it, my team is so passionately committed. They're like, I mean, that's a whole nother episode. So before I get too off track, I'm fired up today. I hope you guys love this one because I'm loving it. We talked about like the X-rays, the heel lifts, or old school ways of just like putting you on 400 different supplements. I don't think that's a deal. I don't think that's smart either. At the end of the day, you got to have a system where you measure it. And that's where I think the biggest difference in our office at Advantage Health Center in the middle of nowhere, Jordan, Minnesota. It's really not the middle of nowhere. But why people drive, why people refer, why people come up from different states for care, or when people's family are in town. I remember one time we had a local family, and their family was in town from Costa Rica, and he had narcolepsy. There's a video way back where I was wearing like Christmas sweaters. Like this guy was like narcoleptic. He would fall asleep all the time, and his family had so much faith and confidence in our office to help him that when he came in and I adjusted him, I think I only adjusted him once, but we put him through the assessment. We put him through the scans. We put him through the protocol. We did not skip the steps, and he's doing like we did a testimonial video of him just crushing it. So that's what it's about at the end of the day, you guys. We cannot get into cookie cutter patterns with our health and expect better results. We can't go in with old school, just things that don't make sense. Patients, you're smarter than that. And if it feels weird and you can't have conversations with your doctor, no matter what the kind of doctor is, get out of there. Don't just go to the doctor because this is where my family has gone for decades. That doesn't help you. That does not help you. Go to somewhere where you get help. And that is why we have the mission statement of educating. This is part of the education process. Some people will be like, Dr. Jeff, you're on YouTube all the time, or you're on Facebook all the time. Your ads keep coming up. You're damn right my ads keep coming up because I'm paying for that stuff. I'm paying to get this message out there because it's important. That's why. And so ultimately, when it comes down to it, educating is huge. We've got a workshop coming up at the end of this month on ADHD. I've done ADHD workshops for 14 freaking years. I was on the front cover of Jordan Independent, 2009, baby. That was a good year, 2009. And you know what the headline was? Chiropractic helps little girl with ADHD symptoms. 2009. That's a while ago. I'm dating myself. I think I had 1 kid. Now I have 4. Not because I like kids, because my wife's smoking hot. Shout out to Olivia. So that's something we've been in the game. We're doing an educational workshop at the end of this month. Again, free workshops. We're doing them all the time. We're doing live videos all the time. Education, empowering people. You notice the fire in this video? It's because in the podcast is because I love this stuff. I'm fired up because if you go to somewhere where they're not fired up about what they do, turn around, go back, and find someone, and there it is. Like you cannot. I truly believe you get better results from passionate people. From people who know their purpose and are passionate about it. They're going to go that extra mile, not because they have to, not because they get paid more, because it's part of their purpose and it's not just a paycheck. Find that place. And then finally, eradicating lifestyle disease. Will that happen in my lifetime? No, probably not. You know, how do you think it feels every morning knowing and waking up that it's like your purpose is far beyond your reach? Well, it makes you work harder for sure. But ultimately, it's something that maybe one day it'll happen. And if it doesn't happen in my lifetime, maybe my kids will pick up the pursuit. Maybe somebody will watch this and say, I want to be a chiropractor like that. And maybe they'll carry the torch on. And one day we'll see lifestyle disease radically diminished. Because when I read the stat that over 70% of deaths are due to lifestyle diseases and lives are cut short, that's what freaking hurts my heart. Because the choices we make are killing us. And the choices I've made have possibly shortened my life. Think about that. The only moment in time we own is right now. You can't do anything about tomorrow. You can't do anything about yesterday. It is right now. And so when you look about that lifestyle disease, it's educating, empowering, eradicating lifestyle disease. And that's going to be the mission of Advantage Health Center for as long as I'm here. If I die and somebody takes over the clinic and changes the name and all those things, then it is what it is. It's in God's hands. Ultimately, I always say when I walk in the office every morning, I'm like, God, you send them, I'll serve them. And that's it. That's all we can do. So I want you to like, comment, share this one. I put some fire down. I see Emmy on Instagram Live. I see Diana, all these things. They know they've been around for a minute. But I'm gonna kill the recording here. You guys, that's your doctor's orders. There's a lot in there. But I hope you loved it. That's the end of doctor's orders for today. Thanks for listening and stay tuned for the next one.